Okay, so data center industry, no secret, it's expanding pretty rapidly. Everyone's gone AI crazy. What does that mean for an industry that was already perhaps struggling slightly on the skills side? Now this expansion, just give us your thoughts as to how big a problem it is or might become.
I think in general, it's a problem trying to find good skills, almost whatever industry you're in. But the data center industries behind the growth are things like AI. And of course, there's an argument about AI will replace skills, but actually I've never seen this industry go as fast in terms of needing skills. So I think from a talent point of view, there's probably most companies that are involved in the arena of the data center world are looking for people, at all levels.
And in terms of your role, you obviously try and find candidates for companies, but do you think you've got a wider obligation to help sort of grow the skills base as well? Do you get involved in any initiatives in the industry to try and attract people, whether it's from adjacent industries or back into the schools? Just what's your sort of remit, I guess?
Well, we tend to work at the search level, which is the senior C-suite level. But the reality is those people will retire at some point. And we've got a responsibility to work with the schools, to work with the universities. So we partner with organisations that do work in the schools. We had Lord Kenneth Baker here last year, who was involved in a number of schools in London, and just letting the young people see what is the data centre about. And you've got people here who came along to collect the pens and all the gadgets, and some of them are like, I like this. I like what you're doing. I like the cooling aspect of it. I like the undersea cabling aspect of it. I like the fact that actually when I use TikTok, what's behind it matters. And if we can sow that into the minds of young people, it's really important. But the challenge we have is that some of the research that Facebook have done and LinkedIn have done is that young people now, by the time they're 50, they will have 15 different jobs.
Okay.
And the most important thing is 5 different careers. So we've got to entice them in, and then we've got to retain them.
Keep hold of them,
and keep hold of them, because they're thinking, I'll have a job for 3 or 4 years, then I'll go travelling, and then I'll come back have another job, and then I'll come back have another job. So the concept of career is also something that we've got to work alongside them. Think, well, what does that look like? Because maybe they're not thinking, I want to be in this industry for the next 30 or 40 years. Well, most of us who've been involved in it as a supplier to or have been involved in it, have been involved in it for 30, 40 years.
So to that point, do you accept that that's what they're going to do and therefore work around that? Or do you try and encourage them by making the industry exciting and attractive, but rather than disappear you are going to stay and have a career? Or do you just, I say, accept that that's the modern youngster, and therefore you just got to accept that people are going to dip in and out of the industry?
Well, for me, it's a loaded question because I've got 6 kids,
right.
Between 15 and 24.
Right.
So, and they think exactly the same.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying, well, actually get into something that is going to reward you, you can grow. So it's a constant battle. But I think the industry is also changing as well. So there's lots of different aspects of the data center industry. I mean, this show here is huge. So it's about getting that inquisitive, curious mind to say, come and join us on this journey. And then if you do move, maybe you move within the industry. Because I think it's a booming industry, as we all know. And it's keeping the UK economy going because it's a part of healthcare. It's a part of the police force. It's a part of tech. It's everything. So if you're a young person looking to get in, there's something here for everyone. And that's what I believe.
And do you think the industry could do a better job of I mean, I suppose traditionally it's been quite secretive because it's sort of like we don't want people to know where we are and what we're doing.
Yeah.
But do you think it needs to be more open? And I mean, I know during the pandemic, it was IT industry was very much regarded as a sort of fourth emergency service because it kept the country running. Yeah. And it seemed to be a bit of a missed opportunity because they didn't sort of piggyback off that and make a big thing. But do you think they need to explain to everyone that pretty much any activity that you engage in during the average day, there's a data center sort of somewhere lurking in the background, therefore it's quite an important, exciting industry?
I think it's our responsibilities to do that. Because you drive into London, you drive past these magnificent buildings which are apartments, and equally magnificent buildings which don't seem to have any windows. What's behind there? Well, There's not that much of a secret behind it. It's wires and cables and racks. Let's take them on tours. Let's show people what's there and how it works. Today, with the emergence of social media, the best kept secrets are not really the best kept secrets. So I think if we want to encourage more people in and also retain them and then grow them and develop them, I think we need to be as open as we can be. Commercially, obviously, there's some sensitivities, but it's a global world as well, as we know. So people can move around the labour markets much more freely than they ever could before.
And are there any particular adjacent industries that are good for finding people? I'm thinking I've bumped into a few companies here where they're sort of started out in the oil and gas industry, for example, which seem to have certain similarities and moving across. And then I know the armed forces are often seen as people leaving those as possible. Are those two of the main potential sort of places to find recruits, or are there any other industries that are good?
Professional service industries, which require a bit of intelligence to weave things together, like engineering. Or if you're building a solution, then that sort of experience is great for the data industry. What we've seen in the last 5 years is more and more people being taken on in the industry that don't have that experience. 5 years ago, it was like, where have you worked? And these are the list of companies. These are the type of jobs we want. And if you've got data center experience, you're in. If you haven't, we're not interested. We can't afford to be that blind. There are some brilliant skills, both at C-suite level, in the middle of the people's careers and at the start, that come from other disciplines. And I think we have to look at the skills those people have and the way they think. And if we can weave those two together, there's roles to them, because we're going to need more and more people as the industry goes anyway.
And in terms of the current employment landscape, because I know, without getting too much into the politics, there's more and more people not in work for various reasons. Is that adding to the problem? And is there a way of sort of rescuing any of those, particularly maturer folks, relevant, or is that sort of not something that the data center industry can sort of help address or tap into?
It should address it, because there's skills in there that you've got to unearth, and maybe you have to work a bit harder. I've always had this belief that people want to work. I know there will be a view that some people don't. Well, that some may only be a small percentage. What about the rest of those that want to work or maybe can't, maybe don't have the skills? The whole working from home, which the data center industry kind of has supported. Okay, well, how can we adapt a hybrid model where that's necessary? Or do we just fold our arms and say, no, you're going to be in the office all the time? We've just got to be as wide in our thinking as we can be, and attract some of those people as well.
And maybe finally, we know the data center industry is, AI is fueling it. In terms of your industry, is AI becoming a tool that you use to help you in the recruitment process, or is it still very much a sort of human business?
No, I think if AI can help us find people and assess people quicker, better for the clients that we serve, then of course we'll use it. We'll be silly not to. But it's not the be all and end all. All the people who work in our sector are not going to be replaced by AI. At the same time, AI is important to use in a whole range of different skills. You've just got to be AI literate and be able to weave that into how you communicate with people and also what you're doing in the role that you're doing. So I think it's just a marriage that we can make work.